kings of Ethiopia has defied the legions of Benito Mussolini. This map shows the With these troops, the Emperor says he will fight to preserve the freedom of Africa's last independent kingdom. Not 1 cent of indemnity, and 1 million warriors to back up their stand. The world hopes that the sands of the desert will not run red.
The might of Soviet Russia in the Red Square in Moscow, the great communist state on a Labor Day parade. Voroshilov and Stalin watched stern-eyed as tanks, cars and infantry swept past and planes roared overhead. Watch in amazement the immensity of the mystery nation of the world, Soviet Russia.
Greatest headlines of the century. Dateline, Berlin, January 30th, 1933. In a moment, the story. Adolf Hitler had planned his career carefully. The timetable established for the supreme rule of Nazism was clicking along like clockwork. Organized in the chaotic years following World War I, the National Socialist Workers' Party had climbed the ladder of success with sure, firm steps. In 1932, Nazi popularity was deemed ready for its first nationwide test. Reigning President von Hindenburg found himself opposed at the polls by the mustached stormtroop leader. Electioneering reached a feverish pitch throughout the land, but Hitler found that the time was not yet ripe for his band of cold-blooded fanatics to gain the power for which he so avidly thirsted. Von Hindenburg won the election and remained president. But the Reichstag was split so decisively by the Nazi representatives that the in-power administration was handcuffed effectively. Such domestic strife foretold a black future for Germany unless a coalition government could be formed to satisfy all the major parties. With that in mind, wily politician Fritz von Papen convinced President von Hindenburg to choose Hitler as the new chancellor. January 30th, 1933 was the black day that the appointment came into effect. Unknowingly, von Hindenburg and von Papen had signed Germany's death warrant with that move. Hitler's popularity was increasing by leaps and bounds. The people greeted the announcement of his becoming chancellor with wild enthusiasm. The soon-to-be Nazi dictator smugly ranted and raved that he planned only peaceful imperialism for his country. Germany, awake, he shouted. The time had come for Deutschland to retake its rightful place in the sun. Too late, the more conservative Germans realized their mistake. Breaking his promise to President von Hindenburg that he would keep an equal representation of all the major parties in his cabinet, Hitler overloaded his government with his own men. The infamous Reichstag fire, blamed on communist agitators, but in reality ignited by the Nazis themselves, gave him the opportunity to invoke Article 48 of the German Constitution. That clause called for the revoking of all civil liberties in time of a grave crisis. Germany had now come completely under the power of a mad modern-day Svengali. The hypnotic eye had been replaced by a magnetic oratory that swept all logic aside with its overpowering brilliance. The maniacal Hitler had used the chancellorship as a stepping stone for his fanatical scheme to conquer the world. At von Hindenburg's death, the Austrian house painter automatically became president of the Third Reich. His crocodile tears at the elderly general's grave hid the satisfied gleam of a man who knew that he had the fate of the world in his powerful hand.